Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lee from SilverLiningAnalysis, and today we are talking about Hycroft Mining. It is a company that is known by a lot of investors. Elon Musk talked about it. Eric Sprott is talking about it. It is on everybody's mind. The stock has 10x'd in the last couple years. So let's dive into it. Let's see what the deposit is about. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment on what you would like to see next. Let's just dive straight into it because it's an extremely interesting presentation. Hey, quick disclaimer. I am not a professional advisor. The content in this video are for entertainment and educational purposes only and reflect my personal opinion. It should not be taken as financial advice or investment advice. Always do your own research and speak with a licensed financial advisor before you make any investment decisions. I may own positions in the stocks that I talk about, and when I do, I will mention that at the start of the video. This is not financial advice. This is just my personal opinion, and please do your own research before investing. Thank you. Let's get on to the video. Hey everybody, good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lee from SilverLiningAnalysis, and today we are talking about Hycroft Mining. So let's just get straight into it. Today we are talking about the management team, the project, the capital structure, the balance sheet, recent news, and my opinion about the company. Recently the company has been on a tear. The share price has 10x'd this year, and a lot of notable people are talking about this stock. Eric Sprott is talking about this stock. I think that Elon Musk has tweeted about it in the past as well. The CFO of AMC is involved in the stock as well, so there's a lot of big names talking about it, and I thought that it would be interesting just to see what this project is all about and to dive a little deeper into it. So starting off with the management of the company, Diane Garrett is the president and the CEO of the company. She has 25 years of experience, and she has been the CEO and the director of Romanco Minerals. Romanco Minerals, under her leadership, was sold to Oceana Gold, and Romanco Minerals had a deposit, the Haley deposit, and that has continued in Oceana Gold as a producing asset for Oceana, and Oceana credits it for the growth in their production profile over the last couple of years. So that is definitely a very successful mine, a successful acquisition by Oceana Gold, and a successful company transition from this CEO. So those are definitely good signs. So she was also the CEO of Nickel Creek Platinum Corp. That is a platinum, gold, and palladium exploration company. It is a little bit on the smaller side, so I do understand why she has chosen that she wants to be with Hycroft Resources. She was also the vice president of corporate development in Dayton Mining Corporation and in Beartooth Platinum Corporation. So you see that this woman has been the director, the CEO, and in the management teams of a lot of companies, some of which were extremely successful, like Romarco Minerals, which was sold to another company and continued producing. Other ones are stuck in the exploration side of the business, but that is just how this business goes. And one more thing that is very interesting in this whole story is that this CEO is also a director at Ausenco. And if you don't know, which I do understand, Ausenco is one of the companies who produces 43101 mineral estimates for a lot of different exploration companies. And Ausenco also did the technical report of Hycroft Resources. So I do have a couple questions whether or not there is a conflict of interest there, because she is the director of Ausenco and also the CEO of the company that Ausenco is in some sense auditing. Well, it's not really auditing, it is more looking at the deposit and writing about it. But I do, wish that there was a little bit more distance between these two parties, just to have clarity in the results and the statements that they can give. This woman is also a PhD in engineering, so she definitely knows what she is talking about, and that is definitely needed in this project. As we see when we go further on in this project, it is not a clear-cut case. There is some engineering questions that are being asked. So seeing that the CEO has a background and a PhD in engineering is definitely a very good sign. Moving on to the Chief Financial Officer, Stanton Rideout. He has 30 years of executive experience, also including with Romenco Minerals. So this man was the Chief Financial Officer of Romenco from 2010 till 2015, and 2015 is when the sale happened to Oceana Gold. So this man has been involved on the financial side with the sellout of the company, which was, of course, a big success. So seeing him on the team as well with direct connections to the CEO, that is, of course, an extremely good thing. In the past, he has also been a chairman of a consulting board for Carolina Gold Resources, and he has been the chief financial officer for Swift Transformation Corporation. And he has over 25 years of experience with Philip Dodge, that is also a publicly traded mining company. So you can see that this man has been involved in the financial side of the mining industry for a while now. Most importantly, he has been involved with the CEO at Romenco Resources at the critical time of the sale. So that is definitely a very, very big plus. Then we have Pierre Roquet. He is the vice president of operations and is the general manager of the whole complex. He has a background in business and finance. He does come from the oil and gas service industry, so that is a related but not directly related industry to the mining industry. But of course, a very important thing with this man as well, he has been the general manager of the Haley gold mine. That is the gold mine that was owned by Romenco, right? And that was sold to Oceana Gold in 2015. But this man has stayed on the board and in the company of Oceana Gold and has been the vice president there until 2020. So not only was this man there for the sale, he also guided the furthering the follow-up company Oceana Gold in the development and in the production of their gold asset. So this man definitely has a lot of experience with actual mining big amounts of gold. That is very good to see. So you got an engineer, you got a gold miner, and you got a financial guy all working together, having worked in the past, created success, created valuable assets for another company, sold them, and bought a new company to continue their work on. I like to see that. That is a good combination of a management team that has built success in the past, and you can assume that if they've built success in the past, there is a higher chance that they can build success in the future. Looking at the board of directors, we have Thompson Wang. He is the chairman of the board. He is, what I can tell, more of a banker. So access to big capital, which you can also see in the future of this presentation. This company has access to big amounts of capital, which is very good, of course. He's a co-founder of Alta Capital Partners, which provides financial services. I don't know what that means, but do with that as you please. He's an ex-managing director of Deutsche Bank, which is the country next door, Germany. Very big bank in Germany. Also a very systemic, important bank. So might there ever be a financial crisis, then you will understand what Deutsche Bank is and what its role has been in the European economy. And he was the head of the equity capital markets for metals and mining. So you can see that this man has definitely got some experience in the mining sector, not with the actual digging of the projects, not with research of the projects, but more on the financial side, the deals that are being made and money that goes back and forth. Then we have Sean Goodman. He's also on the board of directors. And this is a name who people who have been involved in the whole GameStop craze, the AMC craze from 2020, 2021, they will know this name because he is the executive vice president and the CFO of AMC. Now, I don't understand what a cinema chain has to do with mining. I mean, maybe this company will turn itself around and instead of mining the deposit, they will put a couple movie theaters there and then start going into the movie business. But I don't really understand the link here. If I have to guess why this man is on the board, is because he made a lot of money at AMC. He sold a lot of stock there. He made a lot of capital. He wants to put that in a actual producing asset that has some real value. So he comes to the mining space. Why he wouldn't then just become an investor and why he would become part of the board of directors is very unclear to me. The added benefit of the CFO of a movie chain on the board of directors is unclear. If somebody knows, maybe this man has some really deep mining insights that he can share with the board, but I don't know. Then we have Michael Harrison. He's a managing partner of Sprott Streaming and Royalty Fund. So this man has been involved with Eric Sprott. Eric Sprott is also a big investor in this company, as you can see in the future of this presentation. So it seems that Eric Sprott has some influence on the board of directors through Michael Harrison, which is the managing partner of one of his funds and also the interim CEO of Sprott Resource Holdings. Eric Sprott being this involved in this company might be a good thing because, of course, he has a lot of experience in this mining industry and he has a lot of money to put behind a lot of these projects. Then we have Stephen Lang. He has 40 years of experience in engineering, development, and production, mostly with gold, coal, and base minerals. At this moment, he is also the chairman of Hudbay Minerals. And then lastly, we have Diane Garrett. She is the CEO of the company. She is also on the board of directors. I never like to see that because that dilutes the effect that the board of directors can have on the management team itself. If you make the rules and then vote on the rules at the same time, you will have bigger power within the company and less oversight from the actual investors itself. So the two things that I would like to see within this management to make it even better than it is would be to sever the link between Ausenco and Hycroft Resources, because it's strange that the CEO of the company is also a director at the company who is auditing their deposit. And I would like to see the CEO be removed from the board of directors so that the board of directors has a better oversight over the management team. However, the fact that this management team has a very tight bond with each other, that they have produced a valuable asset in the past and they have sold that to a company who credits that acquisition as a big part in their increasing production profile, is an extremely good thing. Right? The fact that they've worked together in the past, they've sold something, I really like that. So those are just my 2 cents about this management team and this board of directors. Let's just move into the actual mine itself, the Hycroft Mine. This is a past producing mine in Nevada, USA, and it is a past producing heap leaching operation. That means that it was low grade, low cost, and potential high profit. Currently, the project is permitted for heap leaching and for milling. They have a 3-stage crushing facility, a leach pad, and 2 Merrill Crowe plants. I will get into what that means a little bit further in the presentation, but just know that they are permitted for what they have been doing. So currently the company is working on 2 different things. They are working on the mineral resource estimate. They are drilling the project to get a better understanding of the mineralization and to increase the amount of ounces that they have. And they are working on some technical questions regarding the processing of their sulfide-rich ores that they have. Because the process that they've used in the past, the heap leaching facilities, cannot be used for the sulfide-rich ores that they currently want to start producing. So they are looking at different ways on how to manage that problem. But more on that in a little bit. Let's just look at the property itself and let's look at what it actually looks like. This is where it's located, in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Nevada. If we zoom in even deeper on the property, you can see that this is the location of the property itself. They have a landing strip nearby for people who want to fly into this property because it is located in the desert. They have some facilities on the property, but most importantly, it's just the deposit that they have. These are the mineral claims that the company owns. You can see that the deposit is right in the middle of the property. There's a lot of room for exploration. There's a lot of room for deposit growth if you have a lot of space on your property itself, especially if the mineral resource is in the middle of the property, because you can see you can start exploring around the whole property, but you can also maybe try to find some satellite deposits nearby. As you can see here, this is what the company projects the location of their veins to be. This is the actual mine that they've already have, and the veins run right through this mine. So that means that they are mining in the right spot. But if we go back 1 image, if the veins are running across this property like this, But there's a big chance that if they start exploring right there and right there, that they might also find some gold and silver. Who knows? So this property has been mined in the past. It is a past producing mine. That is what you can see right here. I'm going to say it once more. This is called brownfield because, of course, you can see that this is a literal brownfield. That means that there is past mining activities done. And you can see the mining activities in this slide. A little bit of a skewed image, a little bit of a unclear image what is happening here, but I will try to guide you through this. This is the surface line. And you can see that there are two pyramid shapes missing from this surface. Those are the pits that have already been mined. There and right there. The blue lines in this image are the drill holes that they have drilled, and the sort of shaded pink are the mineral resource estimates that the company is currently produced. A clearer image is what we get right here. And these are the mineral resource estimates that the company currently claims that they still have. The starter pit that they've made a couple of years ago is right there and right there. And these are the new pit designs that the company has. They say that it's as big as the Eiffel Tower. I haven't been in France in a long time, so I don't actually know how long that is, but it is pretty big. And you can see that the mineral estimates that they have, the silver color is the silver estimates, the gold color is the gold estimates. You can see that it runs along the whole property itself. So if we then go back, you can see that the mineral estimates run like that across this property. So they got a lot of room, there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of silver in this deposit. But one thing that is very important in this deposit is that the gold and the silver that are there are relatively low grade. The gold aspect in this property is about 0.3 to 0.4 grams per ton, and the silver aspect in this property is about 17 grams per ton. And that gives some difficulties with the processing of this ore. Because, and I'm gonna get my whiteboard out for this one as well, because this company was a past producing mine. So that means that we have the surface line. We are going to start mining a deposit, and this deposit that they've mined was heap leachable. That means that they build big piles of dirt. They spray that dirt with a solution of acid, right? And from that, they will get a solution which contains pieces of gold, or well, higher grade gold, right? This solution is then put into the Merle Crow processing facilities that they have on site right now to purify the gold, to make bars out of it, and to sell those bars onwards to mints and everybody who needs gold. That is how they used to do it. Right now, what the company has, we are going to start this over, is the company has mined some of the resources that are there. This is what they've mined. Right now, the company has a mineral resource estimate out where the resource that they have is a lot bigger. And so this is what they've mined. This is what they want to mine. But within this ore is a lot of what they call sulfide. And you cannot use a heap leaching operation for sulfide-rich ores. I don't know why. I'm not a geologist. I'm not an engineer. I don't know anything about this, but I have tried to read the report that they've produced, and the conclusion of the report is that you cannot use the heap leaching and the Merle Crow facilities for this sulfide-rich ore that they have. So the whole deposit, right? The whole deposit that they hold, the bigger deposit, they need a different kind of a processing facility for that ore. So heap leaching, which basically means soaking the ore to dissolve the gold, works well for softer, less complicated rock that are near the surface, but it isn't great for the sulfide-rich parts that are deeper down into this deposit. So they dissolve the gold in the heap leaching operation, right? They make a big pile, they sprinkle it with a bunch of acid that dissolves the gold, and then they use the Merle-Crowe method to pull the gold out of the acid to make it more condensed and to sell it onwards. But that tactic, that processing facility, that doesn't work for the more sulfide heavy rocks. I don't know why that doesn't work. Don't ask me why. I'm not an engineer. I'm also not a geologist, so I don't know anything about this entire topic at all. But I've been trying to work out with ChatGPT what this all means, and as far as I can understand, you need a different processing facility for very sulfide heavy rocks. And you need a processing facility that is called the pressurized oxidation. That is what the report stated as well. And if you need to use a different kind of processing for the ores that they have, it is not going to be a very clear and easy path forward towards production for this company. This means that they need to do a lot more engineering work and that they need to do some more permitting work for the new processing facilities. The company is working on these technical difficulties right now. They are expecting to provide a PEA, a economic assessment, somewhere in the first quarter of this year, so within a couple months. And in that economic assessment, they will explain what the new way to process this ore will be and how they are going to make this economic. So with the pressurized oxidation method that they have talked about in the technical report in 2023, usually you use that method with some ore that has a little bit higher grade than the deposit has right now. Usually you use a gram per ton ore of 1 to 2 grams, but this company has a deposit with a grade of 0.4. So the company is working out some ways on how to use this method for this grade. The company plans to release an economic assessment where they will explain what the new process will look like and how they are going to do it economically. So buying this company is a bet on whether or not they can use a new processing facility to start mining and processing all of this gold and this silver that they have. Because there is a lot of gold and silver here. The question is just, how do we get it out of the ground and how are we going to process it? If this company answers that question correctly and economically, this property will start producing a bunch of gold and silver. So talking about the amount of gold and silver that this company has, let's look at the projected potential deposit value. The company says that they have 6 million ounces of measured gold, 4.5 million ounces of indicated gold, and 3.3 million ounces of inferred gold. On the silver component, they have 215 million ounces of measured silver, 140, let's call it 144 ounces of indicated silver, and about 95 million ounces of inferred silver. If we put that in here with the commodity prices of today, I do understand that gold and silver are higher right now, but since I've used these two numbers in all of my last presentations, I will use them again right here. The prices are very volatile and they may change. You can see that this company has a projected buyout value of about $11.7 billion. That means that if this bull market continues and people are starting to buy projects for the same price that they have bought them for in the past, we can assume that a big mining corporation will pay about 15% of the resource as a buyout price. I'm going to use that amount of money for the next couple slides to value this company and to see what we can do as shareholders. If we look at the share structure, the company has 81 million shares outstanding right now and about 19 million warrants for a fully diluted share count of 100 million. They are trading at a share price of about $28.50 for a market cap of $2.8 billion right now. This stock is heavily owned by institutional investors. They own 82% of the stock, and only 18% of the stock is left for the retail investors. And that makes that you see such a dramatic move in this stock, because the stock is pretty illiquid for a stock this size. A lot of institutional investors hold this. They don't day trade this stock, they hold it for a long term. And if you see a big inflow of retail investors, the price can really spike up pretty quickly with a share structure like this, as you have seen in the past, because this stock has risen from a market cap of about 250 million to 2.8 billion in a year or two. The top investors in this stock are Eric Sprott, BlackRock, and a couple investment funds. It wasn't clear how much stock is actually owned by the insiders. I would like to know, so if anybody knows that or knows how to look for that, please leave it in the comments. I would be helped with that. If we then look at the balance sheet of this company, the last financial report that they've brought out was on the 30th of September. And at that time, the company had a total of $139 million in cash and $183 million in liabilities. But of these liabilities, 143 million of that was debt. And they've paid that all off in October of 2025. So right now the company is debt free. They have a little bit less cash, but being debt free, of course, is a very good thing. They spend a total of about $6 million in G&A activities, $1.8 million in salaries, $1.5 million in share-based compensations, and $2.5 million in office and administration expenses. And these are the pages where you can find these numbers for yourself. They've also spent about $4 million on exploration, but they didn't give a exact breakdown of the costs and what they've spent it on. So whether this has actually gone through drilling holes is still in the air. I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt and just say that they have spent all of this money on actual exploration itself. That gives the company a total net loss for the period of about 9.9 million, for an implied burn rate of $40 million every year. If we then look at the exploration to G&A ratio, you see that the company does spend more money on G&A than they do on actual exploration itself. I would like to see that change, but since the company is currently working out some technical difficulties with the sulfide ore that they have, I do understand that a lot more money has to go into the technical side of the exploration itself instead of the actual drilling. So in that aspect, I do understand why the company is spending a little bit more on the G&A side than the actual exploration. If we look at the share count of the company and how that has changed year over year, you can see that in this report on the 30th of September 2024, the company had 24 million shares outstanding. At the time of this report, 30th of September 2025, the company had 54 million shares outstanding. That is an implied yearly dilution rate of 126%. And if we then look further from this report, when they had 45 million shares outstanding, the company currently has 81 million shares outstanding. So the dilution rate is high in this company. They have diluted shareholders 126% over the past year, and they are currently still diluting their shareholders pretty heavily. So if you are invested in this company, just know that the share price rises quickly, but the dilution is also an issue with this company. If we then look at the projected value, we can see that I value this deposit at a price of 11.8 billion. They have 100 million shares outstanding for a share price of 28.50. And if you dilute that share count with 126% a year and the share price stays the same, you can see that there is a potential multiple in this stock of 4.1 times if they got bought out today, but that multiple drops for a guaranteed loss between 2 and 3 years. So in essence, what I'm trying to say with this is that if you buy this stock right now, you are hoping that the management will figure out the technical stuff quickly and they will start producing gold and silver quickly to get the cash flow to stop diluting their shareholders so heavily. In recent events, the company is producing new drill holes. with a very big interval. They have hit 26.4 meters of 560 grams per ton silver and about half a gram per ton gold. And within that, they have about 7 meters of 800 grams per ton silver. So you can definitely see that they have hit some higher gold and silver veins. That is very good because the higher grades might be able to be processed quicker, because they might be able to use their old processing facilities for that. So they have also stated that they have repaid all their debt. So that is very good as well. We saw that in the last slide when we looked at the balance sheet. And they have announced that they are offering more common stock. So the statements about the dilution rate of the stock are still present. So, in my opinion, in general, this deposit is extremely big. We are talking about a deposit with multi-100 million ounces of silver and 10 million ounces of gold. That means that the technical questions that are being raised about the processing of this ore are mitigated a little bit by the size of the deposit. Because the deposit is so big and because the gold and silver prices are so high right now, you can afford to spend a little bit more time and more money to figure out how to process this ore. Because if they figure out how to do it economically, they are able to mine a lot of gold and silver, which means that the shareholders of this stock will get rewarded for that in the end once they started mining. But until then, there is a high dilution rate within this company. And I would like to see them dilute less, and I would like to see them answer the technical questions. That is why I do not own any stock of this company right now, and I will wait until the economic assessment to understand a little bit better what they are trying to do with the ore and how they are going to process it. The company has a tight share structure and no debt right now, so that is very good. That means that they are able to sell more shares to the public, to raise cash and to use that cash for their property itself. There is still a big gap between the deposit value and the market cap, but because the share price has been rising so fast in the last 2 years, if it rises even faster in the future, it might actually exceed the deposit value of the deposit itself. And one thing that I do have to say again is that I do think it is very interesting that the technical report that is used in this presentation is made by Ausenco USA, and it is unclear to me whether the CEO of this company is also a director of the USA branch or only different branches, but there might be a little conflict of interest there. I don't know too much about that. I just wanted to put this out there. I thought this was a very interesting presentation, seeing that a lot of big names are always talking about this stock. It's good to see what it is actually about and what the questions are that are being asked within the company. I want to thank you for watching. If you thought that this was interesting and helped you in any way, please hit the like button. If you want to see another stock in another presentation, please leave it in the comments below and subscribe to the channel to not miss any future videos. Thank you. Bye bye.